What's up?
How's it going, man?
Living the dream, buddy.
So what's roofing like?
It's awful
I can see it in your face.
It's awful in this heat. Oh
you're
my
a little
God.
tanned.
Yeah.
So you're currently roofing your sober house for people that aren't aware. I follow you on Instagram and
assisting.
yeah. I mean, dude, listen, you're on the roof replacing shingles, and it's I look forward to those Instagram stories.
Yeah.
But that's like pretty common, right? It's like you live, in a house with other sober guys and you've been there for a while and you give back to the community. And one of the things you do is like you help around the house, right? With the guy that owns it.
You would hope people would.
Yeah.
It's not that common that, you'll find the most eager people in sober living to do things.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But
so let's do this first. Tell me about your last 30 days of drinking and using. What was that like? Paint a picture for us.
The last 30 days or so, it was like more like the last summer. It was just like a consistent bender. I had gotten laid off from, I was working construction doing framing, and I got laid off, and I went into town because I lived up in Muskoka to Rib Fest. Of all things, and I met some girl, and I ended up in like this trap house, and I was just on a weekend bender. I knew I had like a couple weeks off. We were supposed to return. It was like the first week of July, and I think we were supposed to be back in like by August, and my boss ended up overextending himself, so he just kind of kept pushing it back. And I was like, all right, I got a summer off, I'm okay with this, like this is awesome. And I met this guy that has just got this, his dad passed away and left him his house, and he just got like all the money for the house sale and everything.
In Muskoka?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So
he was like, you have a car? Can you like drive me around? I want to go sell drugs. I'm like, okay.
Great summer job.
Yeah, this will be fun. And he ended up getting arrested, and I met these two other guys, and we just kind of started hanging out. I started hanging out at these trap houses and selling drugs and running around and just complete chaos. And then I eventually ended up getting a DUI. I had been running around all night, and I went back to this house and was like trying to sleep. I was waiting for my drug dealer to come up and from the city and to re-up. And I at some point traded cocaine for diazepam and prednisone, which I didn't know what were at the time. I found out later in rehab when I got my disclosure what they were from one of the counselors. And I guess I took some at some point, and these people were annoying me. So I was like, I'm just gonna go sleep in the driveway of this guy Bob. This is one of the houses I sold drugs out of. I was like, I'm gonna go sleep in Bob's driveway. You guys are driving me insane. So I got in my car. This house was on like the off ramp of Highway 11, and I only made it like up over the highway overpass and to the other side of the highway. There was a road that ran parallel with the highway. I made it like just across the highway, and I had fallen asleep. I almost hit a 14-year-old boy who was standing at the end of the driveway waiting to get on the bus because this was like mid-September, and I hit a fence. Fence went over my windshield. I'd put my friend Joe in the back seat to bed because when I got back, I guess he was super drunk, and I was like, here, you just lay in here. So he woke up to the fence coming over the car and tried to like pull the keys out, and then we went across this lawn, hit a rock, it threw the car in the air, flipped it around twice, and I landed right next to this deck. And it turns out that's where my other friend Cody lived with his family. So like if I was 10 feet to the right, I would have went right through probably his son's bedroom and then their kitchen and their bedroom. So by the grace of God, I didn't kill all these people. And very sarcastically, I got extracted from the vehicle, and they're like, were you driving the vehicle? And I was like, no, he was driving. And that's some other stupid shit, which didn't read well in a disclosure at all. So, and then a couple weeks later, I got driving under suspension. I waived the same cop that arrested me for my DUI through a 4-way stop, thinking like, okay, just go ahead. I was bringing my friends to the methadone clinic, and they were drinking in the back seat, and she recognized me immediately. So she came and pulled me over. She was like, Joe, why are you driving? Your license is suspended. I was like, isn't that not until like the court date? Like trying to play it off dumb. And then she's like, no, it's suspended as fuck. Like, what's wrong with you? So I got a driving with a suspension, and then I got into another car accident like a couple weeks later. I hit a tree, and then I ditched the car and just kind of ran around. And then I was a missing person for, I don't know, 10 to 12 days. And around day 11, Joe, who was in the backseat, was sitting next to me, and he looks over and he's like, hey, you're a missing person. It shows me a Facebook post that was shared like 1,200 times or something.
Who
crazy
put that
like that. My mom and my aunt. And turns out they were at home. They were usually down in the city. I lived up north for the most part alone.
Yeah, so people that don't know, Muskoka is up north of Toronto. It's a cottage type area on the lake, on a majority of lakes. But is it on? No, it's just lake country, lake houses, right?
Thousands of them up there. But they had been like wondering where I was. I was not privy to this information because I wasn't paying attention, and I ended up freaking everybody out, and they were looking for me everywhere because I kind of had this habit of like just going somewhere sometimes. Like I just leave. So I had people out in BC looking for me. I had people down in Brampton and Toronto looking around like places I would frequent, and eventually they descended on Muskoka and followed the breadcrumb trail through my summer of chaos, through trap houses, ex-girlfriends, fucking all the wreckage of the past, per se. And eventually, like, one of my friends ended up like popping her head through the door of this house and was like, is Joe here? And he's like, he's on my couch.
So you guys have just been living.
I'm like, what? And then they're like, you're missing. Just before that, the same cop that arrested me like earlier that day, I was going to the beer store and she pulled up beside me. She's like, Joe, you're a missing person. And I was like, that's a real thing? Like, I thought it was a Facebook thing. She's like, no, I need to do a wellness check on you. And I was like, okay, meet me at the beer store. Yeah. I did a wellness check, drinking twisted teas in the parking lot of the beer store in Gravenhurst. Yeah. So it was a bit chaotic, but like I was so removed from reality that I didn't think of myself as an addict or like had a problem. I was like, I'll just have a summer off. Like, I'm having a good time.
What was the moment where you started to really question it and question your drinking and drugging?
It took about 3 weeks in rehab.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me then about like getting to rehab. How does one go from the summer of hell or party probably in your mind to getting into rehab?
Well, they were all looking for me. A bunch of people were looking for me. So when they found me, like, my parents were not far behind these two girls that found me. And they're like, are you ready to come home? I was like, I didn't know anyone was waiting for me. They're like, yeah, I could come home. No problem. So I went home. Like, my sister, my mom, my dad, and I think my nephew was there. He's just little. He's just around. And I think it visibly looked like I had aged my mother, like, 10 years in 10 days. So she was like, would you be open to like doing something? And my dad and me have this very like brunt business style. I've worked for him at several companies. So he's like, you have a problem, you need help with it. Like, what's gonna happen here? I'm like, okay.
It probably doesn't take long for someone to realize the way we drink and use that you have a problem too. Right? Yeah.
Well, his dad was an alcoholic for his entire life, for the most part. He's just passed away a couple months ago, and like, he had dementia and didn't remember who we were for the most part, but he did remember that he didn't like near beers. He liked real beers.
Interesting.
Yeah. He had a little phone card, and it was like 6 pictures, and then on the back of it, it said Tuesdays and Thursday beer deliveries. Wow. For him to remember. So like, he was pretty prevalent, or like
privy to
like the addiction in various forms. So they just kind of like were like, are you ready to go? And I was like, I can go. Yeah. Like, will help you. No problem. And about like 3 weeks into it, I was like, hey, I'm really relating to all these people around here. Like, I think I might be an addict. And my counselor's like, give me a hug. I didn't think you were going to get it. Like, fuck, I was losing hope. But I remember I got there, and it was like his last day before the weekend, and I sat with him, and he was like, "Hey, so do you think you're an addict?" I was like, "I think I'm addicted to having fun, and I have poor self-control." And I just ran with that for like 3 weeks. And then, yeah, it was just...
What was your plan originally? Like, kind of, I'm going to do these 30 days to get the heat off, get my parents off my back, and then go back to partying, or?
Basically, I guess. Like, there wasn't much of a plan at all. It was just like, if this will give you peace of mind, like, yeah, sure. But
you had to be feeling some sort of dis-ease and discomfort in the way you were living, I would imagine.
no, I was always pretty functional. But like growing up in Muskoka, I kind of was like the one person that was there all the time. I lived on a little lake, and for the most part, everyone who was coming up was at like a cottage or
right.
basically a retirement age. There wasn't a lot of families that lived up on my lake.
People were coming to you to party all the time.
I had like a rotating group of people that were always in vacation mode.
Yeah.
So if I was kind of a mess on Wednesday, I had a new group of people on Friday.
Right.
So, I could keep the party going, and it was like none the wiser to everyone else for a very long time. And I was always pretty good about like keeping things rolling. Like I regularly had work. I maintained the house. Like I could cut the grass or like blow the snow, fucking make sure the fire was going, clean up after myself, feed myself. I didn't look disheveled all the time. It was just kind of
a few DUIs here or there.
Honestly, it all like came to a head when I got that DUI. But like for years, it was just kind of like I was just living the lake life. Yeah. Like I feel like everyone in Muskoka is on island time. By like 2 p.m., they're like, let's go fishing. So I was kind of used to that lifestyle for a long time, and it just kind of like blew up when I dove headfirst into it. I had too much free time.
Yeah, the consequences start piling up.
Yeah.
You mentioned the was it a woman cop that had kind of known your name and seen you around a bunch of times?
Yeah.
How did she help you through all of this?
She was really nice. Like she was always like kind of what's it called? I don't know how to put it. She was like super friendly. For all the interactions we had were never really good. I was kind of delusional in the aspect that like I used to flirt with her and think I had a chance, even though every time she saw me, she arrested me. And the last time I saw her, I went back last summer, and I was just like walking through town waiting for a ride, and she pulled up beside me. She's like, "When did you get back into town?" I was like, "I've been here for 15 minutes. Like I'm just passing through." Yeah. She's like, "Stay away from that house." Yes, ma'am.
But you're sober at this time.
Yeah, right? I was like a year and a half sober at this point, so. Just threw me for a loop. I was like, I just got here. How did you know I was here?
She's a tracker on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So you're in rehab for 3 weeks. And do you remember what started to click? Like what clicked specifically, or was it just kind of over time?
Well, there's these like 2 instances on like Saturdays. This other guy named Joe would come in. He was a Native American. I don't know what his part in the tribe or whatever you would call it was, but he would come in and do like a spiritual study, and it just didn't gel with me. It was the only class I really just didn't like. And he'd pass like an eagle feather around, and you'd say your name and everything, and I always pass it because I was like, he's gonna be like, "Oh, your name's Joe, my name's Joe. This is a spiritual connection we're having here. We were destined to meet. I'm like, we're not star-crossed lovers. Settle down." So I just tried to avoid him at all costs. Every Saturday he would come in, and then on like Wednesdays and Sundays, we had like a guest speaker. And this one Wednesday, this other guy named Joe came in, and he had like the carbon copy, same story as me. And I was like, well, this is weird. I'm not as like terminally unique as I thought I was. Here, I thought I thought I was like the most special person ever. When I told my counselor, I was like addicted to having fun. I had poor self-control. He's like, "Oh, well, you're going to be really interesting to work with." And in my mind, I was like, he's gonna write like a thesis on me.
I'm the special case that's gonna like beat addiction or something. Yeah,
I'm like, oh man, he's probably gonna publish a paper on me. This is cool.
Oh, self-centered.
And yeah, it turns out I'm just garden variety idiot addict. So Yeah, it just kind of threw me for a loop when I heard this guy's story, and like we did all the exact same things at art. Like he was doing paint by numbers, and he was reading like aggressively and like actively avoiding talking to people outside of treatment. And I was like, wow, like carbon copy of me. This is crazy. And then I walked up to him. I was like, I don't know what just happened, but like feels like something has changed. Like there was a shift. And he's like, you just had a spiritual experience. I was like, what does that mean? He's like, you had a shift in perspective. I was like, okay. I don't know how to take that, but I'm gonna run with it, Lee. All right. And yeah, after that, I stayed for like 50 days. And then I had like a DUI case. They were asking 2 years in jail. This is also like right after I had that meeting that week, I got my disclosure for my DUI, and it did not read well at all. And I immediately wanted to like leave. I was like, I want to just like start gathering information and figure out what I need to do. And I went to the counseling office, and I was like, can someone explain this to me? Because I was asking everyone about their DUIs because it's pretty common at a rehab for people that have DUIs, and they're like, mine was like 8 pages long. It's really simple. And then I got this 45-page long document. I was like, oh no, there's a lot in here. And I went and asked one of the counselors. I was like, can you kind of like just like describe this to me, like what's going on here? And I got torn apart for like 2 hours straight, which I very much appreciate. I ended up working with the gentleman that did that, and I was like, you don't know how much that helped, because I really needed to hear it. Like, I was so lucky to not have devastated half a dozen families in that brief moment. So I just needed to be, sat down and told the hard truth of how much of a fucking idiot I was. So it helped a lot to hear that. And once I kind of heard the truth of the matter, I kind of shifted how I was looking at things. I just wanted to, I think it like changed my perspective in the, like, I thought I had all these things going for me, and I realized that like I just kept walking away from things in life because I was determined to have fun. Like that was the constant theme of my life, was like, oh, I started a landscaping business, but like I hate chasing people on the weekends for money. It's cutting into my time out on the lake having fun with my friends. Like
next idea, next venture. Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, we're good starters, but we struggle with finishing things, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. And so when you, again, it's what you're talking about to me, it sounds like it's sort of this idea of like, it's actually a lot worse than you think it is out there, and you're in a good place in rehab. But I think one of the jobs that I have when I work with new guys and people that come in, and this was taught to me, is like to convince them that it's actually their situation with drugs and alcohol without recovery is a lot worse than you think it is.
Yeah.
Like it because like you said, we're very good at, it's not that bad. I'm going to figure it out. I'm whatever. It's sweep it under the rug. It's tomorrow Joe's problem. Right. Yeah. So I think it's interesting that you had that multiple shifts in perspective. I can relate to that 100%, having those moments where you just see things completely differently. You're kind of taken out of your eyes almost for a moment and looking at it through somebody else's.
Yeah.
So how did you get through that after that?
Well, I felt like really like a rudderless ship after that point. So I kind of just surrendered to like the suggestions coming my way, because I knew I wasn't built for jail. And the last piece of advice that this guy who tore me apart was like, you're going to war, man. Like, you better start stacking arrows for your quiver. And he walked out of the office. I was like, well, fuck. Okay. Like, I guess so. So I just started doing everything I could. And like everyone I worked with, I was like, is there any chance you would write me a letter for court? And I show up to court with like 20 letters of character references from the director of the rehab I was in, the director of both sober livings I lived in, all the counselors I worked with, psychotherapists I worked with, everybody from A to Z that I could get to write me some sort of character reference of how I was doing in recovery, what I was doing. And it gave, like, they gave me credit in court, but they said that I didn't have enough ties to the community. And I was like, oh God, like, we'll reduce your sentence, but you still have to go to jail. And I was like, well, what the hell does that mean to my lawyer? And he's like, you need a job. Like, if you don't have a job, there's no reason to like keep you on the streets. And I had a group chat with the guys I lived with at Sober Living, and I was like, it doesn't look good, guys. Like, tomorrow I plead and they sentence me, so like I don't know what I'm gonna do, but. And my friend Hashem wrote me a less than honest letter of employment that I had been working at his yard as a laborer for his family's trucking business. And that kept me out of jail. They gave me house arrest. And if you didn't know, counseling is one of the necessities of life that you can get. And meetings count as a form of counseling. So I wasn't allowed to leave the house other than like 4 hours a day or a week on Sundays, but I could go to meetings every night. So I was going to like every meeting I could just to have some semblance of a life. And I was really like anxious about the whole thing leading up to it. And I finished the steps in like 7 weeks. And that was with me loafing on step 4 for, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. And I immediately started sponsoring guys that were in sober living. And at one point, I think I had 8 or 9 sponsees that like lived at sober living. So I was just freaking out in my mind about what was going to happen with court. Like, I was just so unsure up until like the very day before I was sentenced. And once I did get sentenced, I was like, well, now I have all this free time. Like, I can't go anywhere or do anything. So for like the next, I think 6 or 7 months, I just like aggressively booked people. And I don't know,
Just like
at some point everything started to click more and more. I did the steps with like no inclination of what was going on. I know I had a spiritual experience or a change in perspective back in rehab, but like I still didn't really get the steps while I worked through them. I did them to like the best of my ability, and like I was talking to people about it, and was never one to like, you know, stay mute about how I felt about how things were going. Like, if I didn't understand something, I didn't understand something. Or if I didn't agree with something, I didn't agree with something. And I think that's kind of why my sponsor ended up approaching me, because I remember a reading at the meeting I went to the first week I was out of treatment was like the 9-step promise, the part in the book about it. And I was like, I didn't really get why like the problem's been removed, but I haven't been cured. Like, if someone took out a tumor, I'd be cured of the brain cancer I had. So this feels like a double entendre. Like, what's going on? And I think it's to my benefit that I was vocal about the things I didn't understand, because then I could get the information on how I could, you know, wrap my head around it, if I could. Yeah. But yeah, I just kind of kept taking suggestions and going. I didn't have any direction in my life. That's all I knew was like every good idea I ever had never gave me good results. So it's like maybe someone else knows better than me. Like, I could go with that for, you know, a summer, because I don't have anything else better to do right now. Like, I could go to jail or I could just listen to these people. And that's what I did.
It's so simple, but so difficult too sometimes to just kind of turn off your brain and follow that direction in the beginning, because everything in your mind is telling you to solve the DUI problem, right? At least that's the way my mind works. Is like, yeah, I can relate to, we need to fix this right now. Like, and even though it's unfixable right now, right? But you have all this free time, and yeah, idle hands are the devil's playground for addicts, especially. Like, I'm going through that now. I have a lot of free time that I would rather not have. And my brain starts just talking about useless things, right? That don't really benefit me, or how to solve problems, or I'm starting to simulate all the outcomes in my life of this is going to go this way, this is going to go that way. And it's all bullshit. It's all wrong. So I think I love that you just kept busy in the beginning, and you didn't really know what you were doing, but you were just the direction was coming from someone doing better than you, right? It was really that simple. Someone that wasn't in jail.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if you know, looking back now, what do you think drugs and alcohol did for you before it started to do to you?
It was definitely like a social lubricant. Like, it was just kind of the crux around like the people I hung out with. It was just people were coming up and they're like, oh, we're going to have drinks around the fire. And I started smoking weed at a very, like, I think I was like 12 or 13 when I moved up to Muskoka. I started smoking weed that summer. So for a long time, like, I was always smoking weed. And eventually, like, people were coming up and they're like, hey, do you know where we could get XYZ up here? Like, you know, our weekend had shifted in priorities. So I was also the person that, like, you could call and I could probably get you something on the lake. And eventually just, it was always just like kind of, I was that like call to a friend to have fun kind of person. Like I wasn't getting invited over for Sunday dinners or anything with your family, but you know, Saturday night I'd probably catch a call from you. So it was just always a constant. I didn't really like view it in any specific way. I've always been a relatively confident person, so I didn't feel like I needed to escape myself, but you know, at a certain point, like I think it became a crutch on like how angry I was. So I only had like two emotions. I was either like elated or I was just angry or numb. Mostly numb because I was drinking and using most of the time. But yeah, I don't really relate to the way people are like. I was trying to escape myself. I didn't like the way I felt. I never really experienced those problems. So I got to rehab and they gave me that feelings wheel. And I was like, I know all these words, but like these are not all different emotions. These are like synonyms. So I was like, what does this mean? I'm like, no, these are ways you feel these emotions. Like they're all different. I was like, what is it? What are you talking about? And they're like, I think you're emotionally literate, Joe. So I had to carry a feelings journal around with me for like 45 days. And that was like the biggest change in perspective I think I had in recovery was I didn't have any emotional intelligence like whatsoever. And I really needed to like learn what like the physical symptoms of how I felt things and like how like my first reactions were really like playing off on other emotions. And I for the life of me did not think I was afraid of anything. I did my first fear inventory. I wrote down horses because like I just don't trust horses. Saw someone get kicked by one
They'll kick
once.
you. Yeah.
I was like, that guy's dead. And the stable girls were like, oh, that's so funny. I'm like, no, look at him. Like, he's dead. We're looking at a dead body right now. They're like, you're such a city boy. I'm like, oh, okay. Cowboys are crazy. I'm fucking wholeheartedly believe that. They're the craziest people on the face of the earth. But, yeah, I did this fear inventory, and then my counselor was like, I don't think you get the point of this. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not like really scared of very much. And it took me like a while. I think it was like the very end of my stay. It was like, I realized I'm just reckless. Like, I'm not fearless. I'm like riddled with fear, but I don't really have like cause and concern for my own well-being. So I'm just a reckless individual. I'm not a fearless one. So it was like learning the ways these emotions were like affecting my life was the biggest perspective change I had. And still today, like I still have to like work on it because I feel that like emotional numbness coming back sometimes, especially working in this field. Like there's like a healthy spot where you're not too invested, but like you're not too divested from working with clients and people in this program. So I don't know, trying to find that sweet spot can be difficult because it's overwhelming and it's frustrating to see people not do well when you're doing more than they are for their recovery. You're like, what am I doing? It becomes disheartening. So trying to find like empathy, but also like guarding your own sanity. It's a balancing act.
Don't let them kind of take you down with them, right?
Yeah.
I always think of when you talk about that, I think about the metaphor because that is one of the most frustrating things in professionally working with people, but also like in the recovery space of mentoring and sponsoring. It's sort of like you have all the answers to the test, but they're not your answers, right? Like you have the answers and you're just like sliding them across the table, but the guy is just like he just can't see down on the paper. And he's like, no, I've got the answers. I know the answers. Don't worry. But you've been given the answers to the test. And it's like, we just can't pick it up. And I've been there. I'm sure you've been there too, where it's like, you're so stubborn in your way and I'm right. And this ego comes up and tells me, I don't need help. I'm good. It can happen in sobriety too. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So What does like you mentioned service, and I love that that's what got you through. It sounds like that's what got you through your first year, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure.
What does service do for you back then? But like, I mean, in general, what does it do for you?
Well, it keeps me sober, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It gets me out of self, especially, and it gives me new perspectives on like, was sponsoring people. I regularly learn things from the people that I work with, that I just never had that perspective. So it definitely helps. The way people say like the literature in the big book and stuff like that, it reads differently when you're like working with someone, is a wholly true testament to me. Like I think every time I've taken someone through the book with their experiences as like a lens for what I'm reading, it comes off differently every single time. And it kind of works as a mirror and reflects back at me. And I'm like, oh my God, like I didn't realize I was XYZ too. So it's definitely interesting in that respect. I do a lot of service for like my home group, and with sober living, we have like various things that we help out with. I've done H&I meetings like when I was capable. It was working with my schedule. I like to go to Michael Garren like once a week and go down there.
Which is a detox.
Yeah, it's a detox. And like standing with the people that are like, I just can't stop and I don't have the resources. You're like, okay, like this is a refreshing perspective, because you'll find a lot of people in like in rehabs and in sober livings are kind of playing to the powers in their life, whether they're there on a court order or their parents are like, hey, you have a problem, like we'll pay for you to get better. They're not really there with like the gift of desperation and the desire for change. And sometimes they develop that in the space.
I did.
That was
Yeah,
my
I did too.
experience
Yeah.
as well. But it's not frequent that like somebody comes there and is like, I just can't stop and everything has fallen to pieces. So when you go to like a detox and you do a meeting with these people, they're like, I can't stop. Like I want help, but like I don't know where to get it and I don't know how to get it. And it's like, well, this is nice. Like this reminds me of when I was like this, but I didn't have this perspective. Like I needed help, but I didn't want it.
Right.
I didn't think I needed it. And it just gives you these like new perspectives on life, and it gets you out of self. Like you're constantly living in your head if you're just constantly, taking inventories 14 times a day. You're like, wow, I'm a piece of shit. But like, look, I've made all the amends I need to today. It's like, well, you need to make 52 amends today. Like, you're not a deck of cards. You need to maybe make some changes tomorrow. It's not just about identifying why you're an asshole. It's about changing why you're an asshole.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on.
No, you are. Yeah.
Okay.
And too late. Get out. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's man, that's a good point though. It is refreshing to see the gift of desperation and hopelessness in people, because it's not common. I agree. It's really not common. And also too, it's such a fleeting thing a lot of the time. Like I talk to so many people that today's the gift of desperation, tomorrow is I can control it again. And I was certainly in that place too. But I think you're right. I think everybody has to come to that hopelessness. My mentor always says, it's not necessarily a gift of desperation. And he always gives me a new perspective on things because he's been doing this for a long time. But a lot of people have the gift of desperation. Like we've been desperate a lot in our lives when we weren't ready to get help. It's the hopelessness that is sort of the next frontier, where it's like you really cannot see any way forward with drugs and without drugs either. Like there's just like no hope whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of that's the way that I see it. And he taught me that is like, there has to be a hopelessness of, I'm screwed. Like I'm screwed with drugs. I'm screwed without drugs. I can't live with them. I can't live without them.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's like such a refreshing perspective when someone says, I just don't know where to go. And you're like, oh fuck. Like, dude, let me just,
That's spiritual bottom.
Yeah. Speaking of spirituality, I like to talk about spirituality on here. What does that mean to you? What does it look like in your program today?
Honestly, that's like one of the hardest questions to answer, because I can't describe it with any sense I have. I can't touch it, taste it, feel it, see it, smell it. I couldn't draw it for you. It's hard to describe. I used to pray to a plastic chair. I didn't understand what was going on in these rooms, but I was like, there's no way 42 people gathered here today just to lie to me. I know I'm important, but I'm not that important.
It's so true.
So I was like,
I'm right and everybody else is wrong.
yeah, I know you're all lying. So, joke's on you. Didn't pull it over on me. So like, I used to pray to this plastic chair because I just imagined like my place in the fellowship was a power greater than me. Like their collective experiences were probably a power greater than myself. And that is definitely true. And fellowship is a great part of anyone's program. It's usually the crutch people first stand on. But today, I don't know. I don't have like an idea of what it is. I know it's like some sort of inner resource that I've tapped into that allows me to have good orderly direction in my life. And that's just easy to spell because it's God. What that is, I don't know. I think it's like some sort of cosmic pendulum that like kind of, when I go too far right, it'll swing me back left kind of thing. I don't think it has anything other than opportunities for me. Whether that's an opportunity to succeed or an opportunity to fail, it's probably a lesson either way. But it's I don't know. Like I don't blame people or like hate them for having these like direct entities. They're like, no, it's the Buddha, it's the Jesus Christ, it's the whatever. I'm all the power to you if you have like this direct connection with something that's bigger than yourself. But mine kind of feels ethereal. Like I don't know what it is. Maybe it's air, maybe it's water. I don't know, but it's something that my life today needs for it to continue on track. And how I connect with it changes on like a day-to-day basis. Some days, great at meditation, can just sit there. Some days it's like a 2-minute ordeal that like feels like it's an eternity in the morning. Sometimes when I say a prayer in the morning, I'm like, wow, I think I nailed that one. Sometimes I'm like, you are so full of shit. Like, what are you doing here? I remember like everything felt so inauthentic when I first started it. Like I used to put my cigarettes under my bed so I would get down on my knees in the morning. Like everything had to have like a caveat to it. Like I needed to like do affirmations in the mirror, but I had to turn around and be like, yeah, that was fucking horseshit. Like you're still a scumbag. but
I did it anyways.
But I did it anyways. And like
that's
now I love doing affirmations. I have an app on my phone that like sends me 10 or 12 a day. And I say them out loud all the time. And then when I'm with clients, I'm like, you got to say it too. Like it will change. It takes repetition. And I think that's why a lot of people stay in the program for so long is they just need that repetition. Like they need to hear that 88 pages or 162 pages or whatever like your group likes to do. They need that kind of that repetition in their life. Like, hey, you are powerless. Hey, you need to be open-minded. Hey, you're about to go to war. Get some arrows in your quiver. A friend of mine always said that like you're going into a title fight and the guy you're fighting watches tape on you all day long. And whoever wins is the world champion of your world. So like get ready. Get ready for your title fight.
That's great. He looks just like you.
Yeah.
And
he knows everything about you. He knows how you throw that right hook and that left jab. Like you need to be prepared to do something new that he doesn't know about. And I think that comes off as true. Like whether he's doing push-ups in the parking lot or whatever people want to say, I'm pretty sure my shadow wants to consume me in darkness, and I'm not trying to live in darkness. So I got to do something different every day. I got to keep this recovery fresh, and stagnation seems to be the biggest cause of concern I've noticed around me. Is people just get tired of the repetition. They don't do anything new. They're like, I go to the same place every Friday night at 7:30. I talk to the same people. We go to the same coffee shop. And then eventually they're like, well, I've done this for 8-9 months. I don't need to continue doing this. Like I've basically drank my entire body weight in coffee, and I've read this book 13 times over the course of these last 9 months. I'm cured. I'm on a good path now that like I don't see me going back. And I don't know about other people, but every good laid plan I've ever had in this life has never gone to plan. There's always some sort of like adjustment that needs to be made. So If my plan is that I'm good now, I'm clearly not going to be good because that's my plan. And God, life just doesn't want me to have things 100% the way I plan them. So, I don't know.
It's so true, man. Whether my plan is, whether it's my plan today or 10 years from now, it's still my plan and my brain hasn't changed. I'm sure there's, neural pathways and stuff that are kind of rewiring and reshifting and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like the Shakespeare quote in the book about being the actor, the director, the lights guy. The minute someone doesn't, steps out of line of your script, whoa. What do you, just follow the script, man. I wrote this. Don't you know how good it is? And then you talk about outgrowing God, essentially outgrowing recovery. Like that's my biggest fear. And that's kind of what happened to me when I relapsed, is like my life got so good and so big that it started to be like, well, what's next? Like and you stop connecting and you stop praying and you stop working with other people. That's the other one too, is like you stop sponsoring and working, with other people. That's the one that kind of really starts to bother you, because then you really start to, I'm right. You're wrong. I'm right. And then it's like my plan. I don't need this anymore. I always say this, but whatever you choose to do in recovery, whatever anyone chooses, whatever I choose to do in recovery today, if I don't do, let's say, this thing that I used to do, I'm telling myself that I don't need to do it anymore. It's really that simple, right? Like if I don't go to that meeting or go for coffee with that guy that I used to, I'm saying to myself, I don't need it anymore. And that's a dangerous thing. Or it's just, it could, maybe you have outgrown it. But either way, I don't need this anymore is like a dangerous game to start flirting with.
100%.
What are your, this is always a tough one, but I like talking about it because I think a lot of people can relate. What are your, like, today unmanageabilities in your life? What is Joe struggling with today?
Oh God, so many things. I'm still a far from perfect canvas. Drugs and alcohol have kind of like not left the conversation, but like they're not the biggest facets on my to battle list kind of thing. Emotional, like, intelligence, continuing to grow that. Like, I still kind of lean into the first reaction sometimes, and like sometimes it takes me like quite a while to see the other side of the street, or like just kind of where I immediately like went with the knee-jerk reaction and then doubling back and being like, okay, I'm sorry, I owe you an amend. Patience and tolerance with all sorts of people, like understanding how I speak to people. These are all like really big challenges because I never had a filter, and I never really cared what people thought about me. I had enough confidence that like I could take it or leave it if you liked me. And if you didn't like me, I probably had a good story to tell why you didn't like me. Joe walked through my screen door 3 times. It's like, yeah, but there was like 3 good weekends in a row.
Why do you have a screen door?
Yeah, honestly, after the second time, you think you would know there's no screen needed there. But I have a hard time like just kind of recognizing the patterns in my life. And I have a hard time like letting people in still. Like, I have a core group of friends that like I try to be as honest as humanly possible with, but like even then, like sometimes I'm kind of hesitant with the people I work with. Like I don't know if this guy's gonna really want this, so do I give him the full truth? Do I give him a half truth? I don't know where he's gonna go with this information. I have difficulty like finding just blind trust in people, which, you shouldn't just have that, but like when you're in these environments where you're supposed to be emotionally intimate with them, it should be kind of causing concern when you're like, I don't know if you've earned that yet. It's just kind of a bit of a chip on my own shoulder that I'm aware of, but like it's just my instant reaction. Like, love and tolerance is not my default setting. I want to gossip. I want to talk. I want to do all the things. And I think gossip has its place in the program, because manipulation is like our bread and butter as addicts and alcoholics. So if we can't talk about each other, how do we know like when we need to help people? like if Debbie is calling everybody in the home group and asking for like $40 for gas money this week, there's probably a good chance Debbie shouldn't be getting money and maybe needs a home call and like maybe a, you know, a wake up call. Like, hey, like we're concerned about you. What's going on? So I think spiritual gossip is an important part of the program. Like, it doesn't need to be malicious intent, but I think accountability is one of the biggest parts of recovery. And, you know, I don't want to co-sign people's fucking bad decisions. So finding the balancing act in that is difficult in itself too.
That's an interesting perspective. I've never heard that before, but I agree with you. I think there may be a time and place where gossip is a beneficial thing to somebody, right? Now there's a huge difference between me going around and talking literal shit about someone when they're not there. Did you hear what thing did? But I could also see how that might turn into a positive, right? And I'm not sitting here telling people to go gossip about other people, but yeah, I mean, it's how many times you've seen this so many times where people start to fall by the wayside and we just kind of like, oh, well, they're not willing. Right. I mean, at least I've done that before.
Yeah.
I haven't seen so-and-so for a while. They pop into my head. Instead of calling to check on them, I'll just be like, well, they just don't want it. Or maybe they're just on vacation, or maybe they're just fine.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's a balance between that too, because I don't know about you, but I can't stand when I go away or something and I haven't been somewhere, you know, at my recovery group for a while and somebody I haven't seen you in a while. Like, everything okay?
Yeah.
What a gift, man. Like, what a gift, somebody checking in on, and they don't mean anything bad by it, right?
No.
But they're just, I love that. It's a good perspective.
It's just concern for your well-being. Like, it's a good thing to have. It's a good thing to have like a safety net where people are like, hey, you know.
When you're so used to seeing people go out too, like, I mean, fuck. Yeah, I bet you probably couldn't even tell me how many times you've seen. Let me ask you this. How many times do you think in your life have you started to work with someone and then never seen them again?
On a percentage basis, I think it's like 80% of the people I've worked with.
Yeah, me too.
It's just like a majority of people. I think there's like 4 or 5 of us from like the group of 60 I went to treatment with over the course of 50 days. Like, I was in between 2 groups basically. So I watched like 45 people leave, and then over Christmas, it was significantly less. I think there was only 20, 25 of us in there. And I think there's like 4 or 5 of us that are still, you know, continuously sober, maybe like 10 of us that are still around. And then, sober living, it is what it is. People come, maybe they don't like the environment, maybe they don't really want things right now. They just want to do things on their own schedule, and it's kind of a community-based program. Like, if one isn't operating with the rest, they're going to fall off pretty quickly. They're going to feel isolated. It's just going to be a resentment to stay. But I don't know. I truly believe you don't know who's going to get it, because there's people I've worked with that were like the most eager. They were calling me like, hey, can we book today? Hey, I know you're not doing it. You're on house arrest right now. Can I come over and book? I'm like, yeah, you come over. I'd love to talk to another human being right now. You literally
had no excuse. Yeah. What a great experience.
And then all of a sudden the next week it's like, oh, he's passed out on the floor. I'm like, oh no. And I try and keep in contact with everyone I've worked with, but like some of them I've had to cut off because, you know, I've become a crutch in their life. So I want people to find that spiritual bottom before it's, you know, an actual bottom with a pine box, because that's a real possibility for a lot of people. So yeah, I don't know what the magic sauce is that, like, you know, some people are like batting 100 for 100 with their sponsees. That is not my experience, but good for them. I don't know. I don't know what really clicks in people's brains. I try to learn something from everyone, so like I can't say every person I've booked has gotten the same experience.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here's what I know for sure is you and I both have zero control over whether anybody stays sober, right? And I think everyone has to kind of learn that for themselves. I talk about it on here a lot, but especially loved ones, that's the hardest one, is like you have zero control over whether somebody stays sober.
Yeah.
Always. And that also means that you can't make anyone relapse either, right? So I always tell people too, and I'm not ready to start working with others. I'm not, like, you'll never be ready. I was never ready, right? You just do it and you become ready as you do it. You're not going to make them relapse, and you're not going to keep them sober. So might as well keep yourself sober through it and try to help them. But
there's no way to do it wrong. You can do it bad, but there's no way to do it wrong. So I say just jump into it.
I always get nervous with the people that are like, this is the way to do it. I have the way to do it. Like there's like, this is the way it works.
I love the people that are like, I have the guide map right here. Yeah, I'm like, I didn't realize you were the reincarnation of Bill W. himself. That's crazy. Can I have your autograph?
Even that guy was flawed to shit, right?
He was insane. I love that. I love that guy so much. He's like, I went to war. I'm going to be the CEO on Wall Street now. Like, it's predestined. Yeah. I'm manifesting this right now. And he's like, oh, you know what? Actually, I'm also going to be a golf pro. Well, I'm at it. I think I'm going to just change the world. And I think psychedelics might be the key to this. Like, there's no perfect human being in that book anywhere. And that's what I appreciate about it is like they come with their faults, hat in hand. And they're like, look, I was a terrible, terrible nuisance on my family. I've since changed, but like they don't pull any punches about themselves. And that's how I try to like come with an authentic case of like, I was completely disconnected from reality. I didn't know what was going on in my life. Other people could see that before I could see it. And I just kind of like felt bad about how they were reacting to my actions. Mm. Like I wasn't a terrible person. I was just doing terrible things. So I had the sympathy to be like, okay, I'll go to rehab for you. It was never a for me endeavor until it was. But that's what the change in perspective is. And I think that's mostly what exists in rehabs is it's that like eureka moment where like someone finally holds up a mirror to you and you can see yourself for the first time. I don't think there's like any specific solution to anybody's problems there, but I think it's a really great way to like remove yourself from the substance or behavior that's been detrimental to your growth as a human being. And, you know, it has a lot of resources around it and a community around it where people are growing and trying to fight these demons together. So, you know, the isolation and all the other things that like kind of keep you from getting to those resources while you're in active addiction or whatever it may be, that's where you can kind of like connect with these people and you can get these resources and begin your journey on whatever it looks like for you. There's like 180 12-step fellowships in Toronto. You can be addicted to Weight Watchers. Like you counting those points are just so addictive. Guess what? There's 12-step fellowship for you. Sex Anonymous, Gambling Anonymous, all the anonymouses. Like,
not to mention all the ones that are not, you know, spiritually based, or there's so many different options out there, right?
Yeah,
it's like
I always tell recovery, people, smart recovery.
There you
like,
go. Just pick one. Pick one and do it. Like they're not all bad. There's got to be one that works for you.
This is just about like taking character inventory. Where are your assets? Where are your liabilities? What is the equity of your life? Like we balance books for businesses. We balance books for all sorts of things in this world. Why can't you have a balanced book? That's how I look at it. This is a fact-finding and fact-facing mission about yourself. And I think anybody can grow from any one of these fellowships or any one of these programs. Like if you just learn more about yourself, where character defects are coming up in your life, what they're coming out as shortcomings, and how you can directly manage them, identify them, and begin to, you know, counter them, that's a positive for anybody. And nobody's perfect. So everybody's got some form of defect of character. Whether that's, you know, you like to buy sports cars behind your wife's back, or you like to sneak out and do lines in the garage at night, or, you know, you can't stop drinking your parents' liquor from their liquor cabinet. Like everybody's got a habit that could use a little working on. I think some are more detrimental than others. Like drug use and alcohol use are very prevalent in people's lives because of the health toll they take. I think gambling is a really prevalent one because of the financial devastation that it can take on people's livelihoods.
And how easy you can hide it too. That's the other one, man.
Yeah.
It's so easy to hide.
Especially now that you can bet on everything.
Yeah.
Like people are doing parlays on like the coin flip at the Super Bowl. I'm like, what the? This isn't even a part of the game. What are you talking about? Like, I'm watching Chinese ping pong.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Yu Sung's gonna win me $2,000. Like, you've never even seen a ping pong battle in real life. Why are you betting on Chinese ping pong?
You're an expert all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Do you see a lot of people, and I guess we can end with this, but I'm interested in, because you hang around a lot of different people in the recovery community. Do you see a lot of young people too? Do you see a lot of people getting into gambling?
Yeah.
Do
because
they
of the
talk about it?
online casinos that have just become prevalent in like online, like a lot of like, in the zeitgeist itself. Online, a lot of people are really into like online gambling and like these online casinos where you can do a blackjack hand in like 10 seconds. Like, it'll take your bank information and you can do a direct deposit from your bank and be at a table with a live dealer within the minute.
While you're walking down the street.
Crazy. But like on top of that, our anti-gambling laws in Ontario were like you could go to OLG or whatever it is and get like a lifetime ban as a gambling addict,
Right.
self-imposed
Right.
from like casinos and stuff. They won't pay out to you or give you chips. And these online casinos don't follow those. Like there's no way to register unless you go to all of them. And there's more of them every day. So I think it is becoming much, much more like popular, especially with younger people because of all these weird kind of like influencers that are like, you know what, stake.com.
The streamers, man.
Yeah. And I'm like, they're not playing with real money.
I know.
They got like a fake promotion account and they're like, here's $1 million on this hand. There's $1 million fake dollars. They never put that money in. They never took that money out. They got paid to do that. So I think it is quite wild. I remember when I was using one night, like the height of the crypto thing, I watched my friend, he was playing like it was like a slot game. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, is that like an app or something? He's like, I'm gambling right now. Like, I just lost like $4,000. I was like, you pulled your phone out like 4 minutes ago.
What? Yeah.
He's like, I'm gambling with like Ethereum or something like that. I was like, what does that even mean? Like, I was like, put that down. What's wrong with you? It's just so easily and readily accessible now. It's definitely going to become a bigger problem, I think, before it becomes more. I think regulation is coming to the online gambling community, but I don't know when. I think it's going to become a really big problem.
Yeah, well, especially for people in recovery too, because it's not mood or mind altering, Joe, and it's so dangerous.
I think the high that people get from it is much harder to like counteract than most like physical substances. From what people tell me, I never got the gambling bug, but it sounds like it like. It's like the observation that like now that you've lost, you're definitely going to win. And you're chasing that like high of like, now I'm in the spot. It's not even like the big win is the big payoff.
Right.
It's like going to the dealer and like the excitement you have on the way there is better than the actual first hit. Like, oh my God, my mouth's watering. Like, I feel like I'm fucking vibrating. It's like I'm still 20 minutes away from this guy's door.
Yeah. The anticipation was always greater than the actual high.
Yeah.
By the end. Yeah.
I think that's what like the crux of the gambling bug is. It's the journey to the win than it is the actual win itself.
Yeah, I would agree. Thanks so much for coming down, Joe. I really appreciate you, man. You do a lot of good work in the recovery community, and thanks for being so open and honest. And let's end with this. What's your favorite piece of advice that you got in recovery?
My favorite piece of advice, I would say remain open to information coming from anywhere. Like, I think a lot of people think time and experience are like the hallmarks of like where you're going to get good advice or good perspectives. And I've learned things from people that were outside smoking crack in the parking lot. Like they came in with a really great perspective on like the actual low of how you feel and like how desperate you can get without a result. Like I've gotten perspectives from people that have 20 years and relapsed. I remain open to information coming from everywhere because that's what I was told to do. Like remain open-minded and have the humility to accept information coming from anywhere. And I think that's a big cause for why I've stuck around so long is I don't know everything. I can know a lot, but it's never enough. So why would I stop trying to learn now that I've, had some level of success in my life again? I mean, the first set of stairs was like me reaching the top of the fucking rooftop. So yeah, I think you should just remain open to like all forms of information. Even some of those pamphlets that like nobody ever picks up might have something that you're like, wow, I never even thought of it that way. Yeah. That's crazy. So yeah, when you hear someone coming to a meeting or like on a podcast and it feels like they're just like a constant war story, but like played out as if it was like a Quentin Tarantino movie. Like it's this epic ballad of Jake the crackhead. And like you don't know. Maybe in the middle of that, you're like, wow, this guy actually has like a really great grasp on how like trauma was influencing his life and how he didn't recognize that until like this very moment when he heard, Betty in the corner who shakes her coffee was talking about her domestic violence. Like you don't know where this information could come from at any point in time. So remain open to it always and don't write someone off just from like, don't judge a book by its cover, basically. But yeah. Other than that, I don't know. There's been so many pieces of advice at this point that I'm just like, I'm one of those people that had to write everything down because I don't have the same memory I once did. Too many concussions, too many whatevers. But yeah, thanks for having me, buddy.